we're in a happy mood after a win. And right now we have Mathis on Mondays. Rashean, I might need to borrow some money, man. They're spending all of it.
We really are.
You say you might need to borrow something. You're spending all of it.
Yeah.
It's that time of the year, man.
Yeah, they're spending my money. I'm giving away stuff left and right here on the show. And I'm going to put Rashean on the spot. I haven't even asked him yet, Casey, but Casey said, hey, can we get Rashean to sign a couple of things for our 12 business days of Christmas? So I'm going to have to go meet you if you don't mind. I need your autograph on a couple of things.
And Rashean, you can say no. The problem is we are live on the radio, so I don't know how the people are going to take that, but
yeah, probably you can't say no.
I don't know if I've ever turned down an autograph, so the chances of me saying yes is pretty good.
Yeah, I figured as such, but I did put you on the spot. Apologies for that. I'm going to put you on the spot with something else. We just had Maurice Jones-Drew on. We do that on 3 o'clock hour on Mondays, and he said, ask Rashean about the story about the chicken broth because Mojo's going to do a game in Buffalo and then Green Bay this weekend, Saturday and Monday. So I said, man, you are going to be so cold. And he talked about, he's like, I used to have to put fur in my helmet. I'd have latex gloves on and then regular gloves. Like he called himself soft. I didn't have to do it. He did it. And so,
yeah.
But he said the game in Cleveland, couldn't remember the year. He said 09. I think it might have been a little later than that because I'm wondering if it was Jack's last game, actually. I remember him walking off the field, and it was a freezing day in Cleveland, and it was snowing and all that stuff. But he said the chicken broth actually froze. Do you remember that?
I do remember it. I remember like it was yesterday. It was extremely cold. It was extremely cold. And Mojo, his prep did make you think he was super soft, but being built like a tank when he was running the ball, he didn't have any problem once the game started.
I know. I love the candid nature of players that are just like, I hate playing in the cold. Like, I don't blame you. It doesn't mean you're not tough. Nobody likes the cold. That's why we live here.
Yeah, well, it's a mental thing. It definitely is a mental block. I think Deion Grant. I give him credit for bringing a different mental toughness to the game, to the team when he came here because he'll go out with no sleeves, no shirt on. He'll just Vaseline his body up, and he'll kind of like psych himself out as if it's like 90 degrees outside. So it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it is a mentality. Did you do the Vaseline thing? Did it work for you?
Nothing worked. I just stopped layering up. Like, so, I'm from the South, been here all my life. So nothing worked. It didn't matter if you had on 5 layers or 0 layers. You were still going to freeze. You just better find that heater on the sideline when you get there.
Yeah, when you get there. That's right. Tough it out. You know what's funny is like I do this with my daughter, Kaylee. She pitches, and it will be cold like in January, or we'll go up to maybe a little bit north, and it's colder in these tournaments, and she will not wear a sleeve when she pitches. She just finds it uncomfortable.
Really?
And so she's like literally shivering. But she's like,
that's tough. That's tough. I don't know if she gets it from you.
No, definitely not.
Kaylee's built different. Man. That's just what it is.
I don't know if she gets it from either of us. I don't know where that comes from. But that is not me. I am as soft as they come, man. No doubt about it. Although, I mean, it was pretty cold in Ashland, Ohio playing baseball. I will tell you that. So I've played in some colder things than maybe a lot of people when it comes to baseball. All right, hey, how about that win yesterday over the Tennessee Titans, Rashean? That was a lot of fun on both sides of the ball.
It was a good game. Very competitive game. A game that wasn't handed to us. A game, especially looking at it early, we fell behind. So to see the team just stay the course and with no panic, it speaks volumes.
You know, we have you on each and every week, and we call you our defensive coordinator because you understand the game and know the game so much better than us. And so I like to put you on the spot from a schematic standpoint or what you see. And what I'm seeing, and we talked about this on Monday Morning Madness today, Casey and I, the Jags on defense are really trying a lot of different things. And something from the fan base that will always happen is people be like, well, why don't you just try this guy or try that guy or blitz more? Or even on offense, they'll be like 2-minute drill or go up tempo. This will change it. Like, just try something when it's not working. Well, I don't know if it's good or bad, Rashean, but it really feels like Mike Caldwell is trying just about anything. He is shuffling guys in and out. He is mixing it up, put Trayvon, in the ground a little bit, put Darius Williams outside on that other corner. Do you like that? Do you like what he's doing, at least trying to find a solution?
Yeah, I like it. I like it for one reason in particular. Not too many defensive coordinators are going to go against what they normally do. And I don't know how much of it is outside of his scheme, but you see him trying to find something that fits the athletes that he has on his team. And that's a tough spot for offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators when things that were rooted within your scheme just wasn't that just isn't working, and you try to find ways to try to find ways to not innovate the wheel, but to try to find something that is going to work for the athletes that you have, and he's doing that. And I think it shows a lot of maturity from his standpoint, and that he's not panicking, that he trusts, that he knows the game of football, and it's showing to prove that it's showing to prove well for us.
Yeah. What did you see? What are you noticing? Could you notice a lot with, like, let's say the Darius Williams move? Because let's be honest, Tennessee's not that dangerous on the outside, but Herndon had to play the nickel, and you talked last week about how tricky that spot can be. What did you think of that move in particular?
Yeah, you made a good point that they're not like really a aired out team. So I think a game to do it was this game where Herndon can get inside and he can, get a little bit more comfortable with the scheme and learn the scheme a little bit, and don't really have to run around in max zone coverages and pick up late pickups within the passing game. So I think this was a great opportunity for him to get in there. But it proved to fit him well. I seen him all over some plays. It was a touchdown late in the game that he couldn't have covered it any better. So I think it's working out well for him.
Rashean, when you talk about, obviously they had the hole on the outside for the while. They moved Darius Williams outside to kind of fix that problem. And not that you want a hole anywhere in your defense, but if you have a stronger guy outside than versus in the slot, I know you said that that's like where your smartest player plays. But is it better if you think your guy's weaker on the inside because you have other players around him like linebackers and maybe safety help rather than on the outside? If that makes any sense.
Unfortunately, it's not. Yeah, it makes. I hear what you're saying, but unfortunately, it doesn't make it any better because it depends on the other team's offense. It depends on their strengths. So some teams are heavier in the slot than they are outside, and vice versa. So it just depends on the other team's strengths, what areas that they're trying to attack you at. What areas they're trying to attack you in, and is that slot guy a monster? Is he a beast, or is it just somebody that you don't have to worry about tearing you apart across the field, all over the field? And I think, like I said, with Tennessee, they didn't really have a major guy in the slot, so it was a good week for him to get his feet wet within that scheme.
Well, they're still trying to find something out at linebacker. Devin Lloyd in for Chad Muma, and I still think it appeared to me like it was a kind of mixed bag all over the place because they put Shaq Quarterman in, and Quarterman delivers one of the biggest plays of the game. And Quarterman's a guy who, by the way, Rashean, is like you. He's a local guy. He's from Oak Leaf High School, and he's played for a few years now, drafted out of Miami in the 4th round, I think it was, and he's mainly been a special teams guy. And he was ready to go, and he made that huge play, but it's pretty obvious Mike Caldwell's still trying to figure out that linebacker spot next to Foye Oluokun.
Yeah, I think he's just allowing his young kids to grow, understanding that nothing is going to be handed to you in this league, that you're going to have to work every down. You can't take plays off because the play that you take off is going to run up your throat when you do that. Like, teams are too good. They find holes, they find gaps. The running backs are too good. You have to be so disciplined in the scheme of the defense because it's only one guy make a mistake, peek his nose in the wrong gap, and boom, there's a 60-yard run. And I think our young linebackers is kind of finding that out. And I think we'll be okay in the long run because the talent is there. It's just getting the mental edge of what it takes to play 65 snaps in the NFL.
Rashean, on that point with Devin Lloyd in the linebacker spot, I know you don't know what was called in the defense there, but on the second touchdown they had, which was their first passing one, it looked like they were in zone and Devin Lloyd thought he was going to pass him off to the next guy. His feet were pretty much on the goal line and the tight end runs by him. Should he be like, it just felt like he was standing there. And I know that that's like not a good way to put it, but I feel like he didn't move or try to even follow him at all. Is that the goal in zone there? Was he trying to just let him pass it off, or should he have done something differently, do you think?
Yeah, everything happens quick down there, down in the red zone. So if you're passing a guy off and the quarterback sees that you're not turning with the receiver, with the tight end, good quarterbacks are looking to get the ball out quick, and that's what happened to him. If you're passing something off, you better make sure that the quarterback is not keying in on you that you're passing that guy off, because if he does, it's an automatic touchdown because the ball is getting out of his hands if he makes his correct read.
Rashean Mathis with us. Mathis on Mondays, educating us as he always does, our defensive coordinator here on Brent Friends on ESPN 690. And let me ask you about one more. Well, not just the one, but Trayvon Walker seemed like did you notice him with his hand in the dirt more? It certainly appeared like that happened, and that was another switch. And he actually had one of his most productive days of the season, Rashean. And I think we're going to see him in that role a little bit more.
Yeah, I did notice his hand was in the dirt. I like the energy that he brought, and I liked him from the start. Since game one, I think I was bragging about him. So I like how he moves around. Like I said, it's just about being disciplined, play in and play out. And I think that's what he's learning as well, just being disciplined, play in and play out, because nothing is going to be handed to you. That guy on the other side of you, I know you might be faster than him, you might think he's stronger than him, but he's getting paid a lot of money to keep that quarterback safe. And you have to be on your P's and Q's, whether it's run play, holding your gap or holding your edge, or whether it's a passing play, getting around that edge, or trusting your moves, or getting, sticking inside and outside and really getting to the quarterback. So I think it's a learning curve for some, but he handled it very well, and he showed that he was ready to show up. Here's against a good team.
Here's an update on Trayvon Walker, by the way. He suffered an ankle injury in that fourth quarter, and it was pretty significant. He ran off the field after the game, but I saw him. It was a pretty hefty limp, and he said he was okay. MRI today, and they were still awaiting results as of Doug Peterson's news conference. So keep an eye on that. But the Jags, who have been very fortunate injury-wise, including Trevor Lawrence, they did lose Chad Muma last week, and Wingard went down with a shoulder injury, came back in. Sisco's missed the last 2 games. So they are plugging and playing a little bit, and you'd love to see, just like we said about Trayvon Walker healthy enough to continue to develop down these last 4 games of the season and carry that through with him in the offseason. So we'll see. We'll get our next update probably not until Wednesday on Trayvon Walker. I don't have a feeling, Casey, we'll see Trayvon Walker like at the hair salon in a protective boot like we got on the Tuesday update of Trevor.
Be cool, though, huh?
It would be cool, but I doubt we see that one out there on Instagram like we're able to get the update on Trevor. Rashean Mathis with us. Mathis on Mondays. I was thinking about you last night watching Tyson Campbell play. And I go back to the conversations we've had about him getting his head around. We asked you about that a lot. And you said, well, it's a trained thing. It can be taught. It can be, he can get better at it. Well, wow, did we see that on Sunday or what? I mean, he was terrific in coverage, and I think he did it in exemplary fashion, Rashean, just how you're supposed to get your head around at the right time and make a play. That was pretty cool to see.
It was, and I was bragging about him as well because, he's big, he's fast. Now just trust your ability. Know the position that you're in. Read your keys going down the field. There's no panic with your speed because you don't really have to worry about anybody running by you, and that's part of the battle. So he made. I think it was at least 2 plays. I seen him get his head around on some really good balls thrown, and he made some great plays. So that's definitely a plus. So these last 4 games, like taking that into the off season is huge for us as a team.
Yeah, and I like seeing guys. I mean, he's been a guy both years now. It looks like that's getting better and developing throughout the course of the year. He's on the verge of being a special guy. He comes back after a tough game against the Detroit Lions as well. How much easier, or I guess how much, let's just say, was a product of the pass rush, do you think, that the Jags had taken a 2-score lead? They dominated in the second half up front. Like, even when they didn't get home, they got pushed. They made it uncomfortable for Tannehill. Do you think it was just a day that they had against that offensive line, who, by the way, has struggled? Or does score really open the floodgates for a defense to do that? I understand when it's 3rd and 15 or when you're down by a couple scores late in the game, they're thrown so you can pin your ears back. But I even noticed it earlier in that third quarter when it was still a ball game and they could run if they wanted to or play action. It just felt like they hit a different level, Rashean, in that second half with the guys up front.
Yeah, I think we control the offensive line or the offensive front very well. Derrick Henry, we knew he was going to get his yards. There's not a defense that could be built on this planet to stop him with the offensive line and how they move. But not allowing them to hurt us in the passing game was huge. And I know they was able to march down the field every now and then. But I go back to this fourth quarter. It was fourth quarter. We pretty much had the game in hand. They would have had to make some really quick scores to kind of beat us, but we held our own and we didn't bend. We bent, but we didn't break. And I was like, this is an important down. We cannot give up a touchdown here, regardless if we win this game or not. And we stay steady and strong as a defense. And those are the type of things that you're looking at, that the defensive coordinator is looking at, and that we're looking at as a team. Like, okay, we got this game in hand, but let's not give up a touchdown, right? And those are that shows growth and how the front is handling putting pressure on him, because he was uncomfortable all day, whether it was sacking him or getting pressure or getting a little push in the pocket and holding up our end on the back end as well.
We don't know a lot about this football team. We're still learning as we go. And I said this all week, that I think Doug Peterson will have them ready to play after the bad loss. I just don't know how they will respond. Like, we don't know. Are they mature enough to respond the way they need to respond? I thought Tennessee would respond and play hard after 2 losses. I think they did. I just don't think they're very good right now, and they're suffering a lot of injuries, and the Jags looked better and just played better and were more opportunistic. But I was impressed with how this football team responded. They go from a big win over the Ravens. They don't handle that well. They don't show up at all against Detroit. And then they come back and they show up big time. And now I guess the next step, Rashean, is, all right, you did it. That's fine. That's win number 5. You've done this 5 times now. How do you get even better this week against a very good team in a game that means even more?
Yeah, and it's time now, like, to start stack a couple wins, especially during the end of the season. You want to kind of go out on a really good note, on a positive note, and not let this air out of the balloon. And I think this will be the week to do so, because it's not a cakewalk. You're going up against a really good team. You know it's going to be a fight. Turnovers, as we created yesterday, getting some turnovers, allowing the ball, get your quarterback, get your franchise player the ball in his hand as many times as you can, and keep that offense off the field. And that's what it's going to be about. Can we get Trevor the ball back? And can we stop them from getting in the end zone? And we were able to do that with Tennessee when it counted, and we need to be able to do that this week.
Well, you said it like we were talking about it. I feel really good when the ball's in Trevor's hands right now. It sounds like you do too. How impressive was that performance? How impressed are you with his growth now the last month?
It's just confidence, man. As an athlete, you understand it. As an athlete, it's just confidence. Once you have that confidence, you can make a mistake and you can brush it off and be like, okay, I know what I did. It's all good. Just give me the ball back. Let's go. Give me the ball back. And he made a play. He rolled out to his left and made a play to Agnew, I believe.
Yes, that's the play.
On the sideline. I was like that's Mahomes, that's Lamar, that's Josh Allen. It's not too many quarterbacks that's gonna make that throw, and even scramble like that. Find his way out of the pocket with poise and make that type of throw. Like that's big time football.
Yeah, and I want to stay on that play, because that's a play we've identified, and there were a bunch of plays, and now we're getting to that point with Trevor where it's like, wow, I mean, it's that play, or do you like that play better, and the stiff arm play, and I mean, there's a bunch. We didn't have that in the first 20-something games of his career. We've really started to see it in the last 4 or 5 games of his career, and I think we're only going to keep seeing it because he's a special talent. But what's the most impressive part of the play to you for Agnew? Because on the one to Agnew, he gets away. He sees the pressure. He feels it. He gets away. He then has the ability to escape from a second guy. He buys time and throws across his body, essentially, which means he squares everything up to deliver the throw. I mean, it's all good, but the degree of difficulty on which part is even more impressive.
Yeah, I think it just kept getting better as the play ended, right? And that's what it is. You step up, you avoid it, you slide, then you make a defender miss, and you're rolling out to the opposite side. You square your shoulders up, and then you drop a dime, right? So all of that, it just got better as it went on, and you'd be like, okay, yeah, that's it right there. That's the big time play. That's the franchise quarterback.
Yeah, it is really good stuff to be able to see that. And now it's almost like, have you sensed that he's taken over the team just probably in the building? Probably like, now I'm playing so well that I can take over the team. I've said this. We've talked about this with a lot of guys over the years. It's like, yeah, you can be a big leader, and leadership is important, and it comes in different ways. But you still have to be able to, well, probably be on the field and available, but also be playing well. Like, if you're not playing well, it's hard to lead, especially the by example part. But I feel like now he is playing so well, Rashean, and he feels so good about himself that he's almost said, all right, I've been a leader, but I'm taking this to the next level now. Come with me, guys. Follow me. It's my team. You're my locker room. I love you all, and here we go. I mean, it's almost like we've seen it happen, even though we're not in the building over the last couple of weeks.
You nailed it, but I will say this. It's not – you said it's kind of hard to lead when you're not playing well. I'm going to change that phrase. It's impossible to lead when you're not playing well because your team needs you, right? Like, as you know, not to get on the Broncos case, but in what they have going on in Denver, like, as great as you've been your entire career, if you're not playing well, it's hard to grab your locker room. And Trevor he was trending, and now is there. Now he doesn't have to say anything. He can walk light, and we know he's carrying a big stick. Like, you know, so the verbiage or, you know, the wordplay, it doesn't have to be there. He's leading by example. He doesn't have to say much. When he speaks, everyone is going to listen because of his play. It's showing that he's putting in work. It's showing that he loves the team. He believes in the team. He believes in every receiver that, you know, last week it was Jones who had a big game. This week, you know, it's someone else. Like, you know, so he's believing in everyone. So it's not just one player that he's believing in. He's giving everybody touches. If you show me you can play, I'm going to get you the ball. And that's what you want out of your quarterback.
I'm not going to keep you over through the break. We're keeping you long here so I can get you out of and onto the rest of your Monday. But I want to ask you one more thing about Evan Ingram. He had this huge day, and we're probably not talking about it enough, quite frankly. We're talking so much about Trevor, such a massive win over Tennessee. But Ingram comes up huge. I mean, 11 catches, 162, 2 touchdowns. This guy can be a mismatch. He's had a good year. And he's pacing to have one of his best years in the NFL and really one of the best years in franchise history when it comes to receiving yards. I think he's on pace now for a little over 700, and the mark is like 749 or 59 for a franchise record. How different of a tight end is he? And I hesitate to even say tight end. But when he actually gets in open space, Rashean, he does look like gangly, almost like a tight end, you know, like he's long and he eats up a lot of yardage. But when he's going to run a route, and he almost makes himself smaller in trying to catch it in traffic, he's an interesting body type for me that we haven't seen around here very often.
Yeah, he's a very interesting body type. And he's going to get on me for not remembering. We had a tight end here, or slash receiver here. He was number 11. I believe he's a police officer now.
Oh, yeah, Wilford Ernest, yeah.
What number was Wilford? Might not have been number 11. But that's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Wilford. He's not going to run by a DB. But if you put a safety on him that can't run, or if you put a linebacker on him, he's going to eat his world up. And that's who he reminds me of. He's strong. He's gritty. Like he has all the tools, and he creates matchup problems. So for us not to try to find spots early in the game to create matchup problems with him, I don't think that's very smart of us. I think we should get him going early in the game, which opens the field up even more, because now you have to respect him inside and outside. And I think we just have talent all over the field. Again, deep ball is the one thing that I say that is missing, but the way Trevor is seeing the field all around, he doesn't need it right now. And I think Ingram is an amazing talent. And, in my house, they were asking about him. What is he? Is he a tight end or is he a receiver? I was like, well, he's a little bit of both. They was like, yeah, he does look big. I was like, but it's showing it's showing that we can scheme, and that's what yesterday showed, and it was amazing to see him. Get a career high and those numbers spark up. So it was a great day for him.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You know what's wild too, and I promise this one, then I'll let you go. We're way long, but you played the game like this. When you're the corner or a receiver, we think of these just like almost brash personalities, and like just. We think of guys like T.O., or we think of guys like Dion, or we think of Jalen Ramsey now, and there's multiple ways to play it. You did it from almost like a quiet perspective and calm perspective, and didn't worry about that. No, when you need to show some personality and flair and swag, you certainly did it. This is a team that's really interesting at those two positions where we often see those traits. They are like super cool, calm, and quiet, confidence kind of guys. Tyson Campbell is certainly that. Darius Williams, extremely quiet on the other corner. And then you've got Ingram and Marvin Jones and Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. It's really almost weird, Rashean, to see those positions be like, have that personality, and they all have it. I don't see a... You know what I'm getting? I'm trying to think of, even from a receiver standpoint, like who have we seen here that is like, I don't know, Reggie Hayward maybe back in the day. Not Hayward, Reggie Williams back in the day.
Williams. We definitely don't have a Reggie Williams or a Chad Ochocinco on our team.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Or Josh Norman on our team. Like, so there's, and that's okay, right? Like you said, because that was me, my career. Like, let's just line up and let's compete. And the best man is going to win. And I think from a team perspective, the team is built like that. Like Trevor, that's his personality as well.
True.
Like, let's go. I'm a competitor. You're going to know that I'm competing. Like, I'm not going to lie down for you. But I don't have to do the hoopla. I think him waving bye to the fans was like one of the most exciting things I ever seen him do since he's been at quarterback, right? But he's going to make the play. He's going to possibly help your D lineman up, and let's go again, right? Like, that's what it's about. It's about competing and respecting the person next to you, but going after that person. I mean, respecting the person across from you, but going after that person across from you every play, and knowing that it's not about talk, but this will be a long day for you.
Yeah, it's just wild to me. I love those little things about the game sometimes, and the makeup of the team. And I really think the makeup of this team has paid off for Doug Peterson and everyone around it to switch, because you can weather through some tough times and frustrating times. And this team hasn't blinked, so good for them. Rashean Mathis on Mondays. Terrific stuff as always. Hey, what number do your kids wear on the baseball field?
That's funny. Funny you ask. It was 7. It was 7 at first. It was my high school number. So my oldest, my 10-year-old, he graduated from 7 to 27 this fall, because he's been asking me to wear it. I was like, okay, dude, before you put this 27 on your back, you got to earn your keep. So you just can't, this generation, you hand everything to them and they think they're the God's gift. Like, you can't do that. So my 7-year-old, he's still wearing 7. He's asking to wear 27 now. I was like, nah, you gotta earn your keep, man. You got to earn your keep before you put that on your back. I sweated a lot and bled a lot for that number. So you got to make sure you're ready to wear that one.
I love it. You almost like you had it retired at home. Like, you can't wear it until you earn it, baby. I like
until you earn it, baby. You dust this number off. You got to earn it, baby. You got to earn it.
That's
Nothing
awesome.
is given, man. Earn your keep.
All right. Well, we got our 12 business days of Christmas, and at 4:30 each day, we're giving away a prize pack. So we're going with caller number 7. Sorry, Casey, you got to answer the phone. We're going with 7 until we earn our keep and can go to 27 at some point.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Mathis on Mondays. Have a good week, Rashean. Thanks, man.
Hey, you guys as well, man. I love you guys.